Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude, welcome back, and today I'm giving another update on the upcoming major winter storm for the Midwest because there has been some changes. So without further ado, stay tuned for the whole video and enjoy. If you'd like staying up to date with the latest weather forecasts and updates, then please consider hitting the subscribe button below. Let's see how fast we can get to 2,000 subscribers. Also, to help this video's performance very much, please consider clicking the like button and sharing this video with your friends. Also, please consider watching the whole video. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. And that is why on most of my comments that I responded to you guys, I did say that stay tuned for updates because there could be some changes to the forecast and there have been some minor adjustments to the forecast. Also another announcement, my fifth and maybe final winter forecast will most likely be coming out tomorrow or very shortly after that. So stay tuned for that as well. But without further ado, let's jump in here. And again, I do want to talk about the oscillations for those of you that watch this and maybe haven't watched the most recent video. Is that we are in what's called, like the oscillations are all correlating with each other. We are in what's called a positive PNA right now, and I will actually show proof of that right here. So as you can see, this is the Climate Prediction Center, and as you can see, if you look at the red lines, or the black line shows we're going up, but the red line shows that we are going to go up in the future, right up until December 1st, which is basically when the storm is going to be hitting, which is kind of ironic. But here we have the what a positive PNA will look like, right? And you can see cold air for the Midwest and the East, a lot of stormy patterns. That's what we're seeing. We're also in a negative NAO, which a negative NAO has the same impacts that a positive PNA does. All right. Also, you can see this will be dropping through the first few days of December. And if we look at what which one is it? It's this one. So this is the negative NAO. All right. And as you can see, colder and stormier. All right, for the pretty much the entire United States is what this looks like, but especially for the Midwest and the East as well. And if we go to the Arctic oscillation, same thing, operates the same way as the NAO. It's going to be trending down as well. So you can see the pattern here. I just want to go over the oscillations real quick for those of you guys that may not have saw it before. And what a negative AO does, again, slightly colder, slightly stormier. We got above average geopotential heights in the Arctic. So obviously, where's the colder it got to go? It's got to go south. All right, and that's what it's going to do. So let's jump into the models now. And thank you guys for tuning in because we actually have added another model. And if you want to know what that model is, you will have to stay tuned for the end of the video to find out. And even comment the name of that model in the comments below so I know that you guys saw it. But anyway, we're starting off with the GFS. Obviously, we got our GFS, our European, our Canadian model, and then we got the UK MET model that I talked about earlier as well. But then there's that mystery model at the end. So let's start off with the GFS. All right, as you can see, not much change in this regard, although looks like when the storm first approaches, there may be a bit less snow, but don't worry, it doesn't mean there's going to be less snow overall. All right, I know that may not make sense to you guys, but let me explain. So here comes a low merging out of the south. All right, you got some snow starting to build in around 8 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't look as packed in as it did before, but look at 2 o'clock and yeah, look at 8 p.m. The snow does get a bit heavier on the backside than what was originally forecast, especially for like the Appalachian Mountains as well and the Smoky Mountains. All right, so there will be some heavier snow on the backside than originally forecast. So even though it may not come in at first as intense, it may be a little bit more intense on the backside. So it'll make up for it. So that's how to explain it here. And then the snow lifts up out in New York. I mean, by Wednesday night, it all should pretty much be gone according to the GFS model. All right. There really is no ice expected out of this storm now, so no ice map to pull up because ice is not expected at this point. But the target area of snow, 12 to 18 inches, right in northeastern Ohio. This is the target zone, right where around Cleveland is. But in general, down towards central and northeastern Ohio, northwestern PA, like Erie, for example, could still see 6 to 12 inches of snow, maybe even a few inches, basically for the entire state of Ohio. And then down the Appalachian Mountains and down the Smoky Mountains, we could see anywhere from 5 to 8 inches of snow as well. So there's still a lot of snow in the forecast. As you can see, Indiana does look like a bit trimmed off as well with the snow. Still could expect in some local areas in Indiana upwards of 4 or 5 inches. All right, and again, this could still change. That's why it's very important to give frequent updates for the storm because there's been a lot of change. And even down through, I know I had one person ask about Atlanta. Atlanta, the northwestern suburbs, you could see some flakes, but I really don't think it's going to amount to much, according to the GFS model, right? So let's talk about the European model now. And the European is definitely a more reliable model. It's a more consistent model. I definitely enjoy looking at it, but it cannot be the only model we look at, right? So here's the European model. Here we go. Storm moves north. And when it first approaches, there's not much cold air. But as the low deepens, all right, the pressure, this red number drops. The low deepens. We get more cold air to come in on the back side. Obviously, it's all going to be on the western side of the storm is where the snow is going to be. And the European model actually starts a lot of it off as like a rain-snow mix. I've noticed they've been saying this. A lot of rain-snow mix, all right? But then it will eventually change to all snow, all right? And the European definitely has a lot more snow coverage, all right? And then here's the snow building, and then like a very heavy band develops, right? The low center kind of sits back here a little bit, and then allows a heavier band of snow from western PA through northeastern Ohio. Hopefully you guys can see that. All right, so area of darker blue could result in some heavier snow totals for northeastern Ohio and western PA. I definitely think those will be the target zones. Wednesday morning, there will be some lake enhancement, although because we got the low to the north, which is pumping in the winds from this direction, and then we have a high off to the south, which is also going to pump winds from that direction. So there will be some lake enhancement for Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, but it won't be much. Most of the snow that will fall directly from the storm system itself. All right, and snowfall totals with the European model, obviously with that heavier snowfall band I talked about, we can see anywhere from 12 to 16 inches for north central Ohio, northeastern Ohio, but they have the target area a little bit farther to the west, all right, where like the 10-inch plus totals are, the 12-inch plus totals. The GFS more so had it in like this region. So similar totals, I would say, for most, but they just have the target area of snow move farther to the west. Still about 6 inches for the Smoky Mountains, 6 inches for the Appalachian Mountains, 6 to 8 inches for Erie as well. So still a lot of snow, and even 5 to 8 inches for Detroit. All right. So those are your snowfall totals with the European model. All right, and now we move on to the Canadian. All right, so we have the Canadian model here, and this has definitely been an interesting model because they've been a little bit back and forth as well. Here's the low, again, coming out of the south. The low deepens. We start to see some snow break out on the backside, but they always had a bit of being on the little bit of a lighter side. Maybe that's just because the way the map is made for this model and the colors look a little bit fainter, but the snow still does kick in, and I definitely think Monday night into Tuesday morning is where we're going to see like the worst of the snow, so to speak, right? So Monday afternoon it starts kicking in, and overnight into Tuesday morning, and pretty much through the day Tuesday will be the worst of the snow. And then, of course, Tuesday and Wednesday, you'll have to deal with the wind. All right. And the Canadian model does hint at some darker blues hovering right around the lakes. So I definitely think that they may be later on the snow when it first approaches, but definitely some heavier snow on the backside because they call for more lake-enhanced snow as well. All right. So that will be tying into the snow totals. But the snow, it's still going to count towards the totals because it's still part of the storm. And they think that Thursday morning, the snow may just be withering away. All right, or at least additional falling snow will be withering away. And because of that, like I said, here's the totals. 12 to 18 inches for Buffalo, for Erie. Like I said, more lake-enhanced snow for this model. But still, some areas in northern and central Ohio and parts of western Ohio can still see 10 inches plus of snow. And they actually have more snow, around 8 or 9 inches for Detroit. More snow for eastern Indiana and northwestern Indiana. Still, models are still calling for all of them so far, 5 to 8 for the Appalachian Mountains, 5 to 8 plus, maybe closer to 10, just because of the geography. Pittsburgh could see about 6 inches as well, according to this. Cleveland, maybe about 8 or so, and 8, or actually 11 for Cleveland. All right, so still a lot of snow. I think the models are agreeing on the totals, like the totals in general, but they don't really agree on who's going to see the most snow. All right, like where will that be? Where will that 10-inch, that 12-inch plus bullseye be? All right, so here's our UKMBT model, and I showed you when I showed you in the last couple of videos, they were going a bit like they weren't really going with as much snow, but now they're starting to fit in with the other models a little bit. All right, I see a couple red specks, so tiny in northeastern Ohio. Also right over Erie, around 12 inches, 13 inches. All right, but they have most of the snow as well. Again, 6 to 8 for the Appalachians, 6 to 8 for the Smokies and Appalachians as well. Northwestern Indiana, quite a few inches. All right, but not as much for like Detroit and eastern Indiana. Most of the snow is Ohio, West Virginia, mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee, as well as like western Pennsylvania again and western New York as well. And hopefully you guys have made it to this portion of the video because this is where we reveal the mystery model. And because we're getting closer to the storm's arrival, you probably can guess what the model is, but when I announce the model, make sure to put the model name in the description. It is 3 letters, the NAM model. All right, and not the NAM 3KM. We're going to be looking at the NAM 12KM because that goes out 84 hours, and I could barely fit the storm in with this. So 60 hours with the NAM 3KM is not far enough, but when the time comes, as the storm comes closer, we'll be able to pull up the NAM 3KM and the high-resolution models as well. All right, so here we have the NAM model, all right, and again, it's always nice to see like one of the more higher definition models. I've always wanted to see what the NAM has to say with the storm, and now we can see. All right, so again, here they have a band of snow forming, all right, around 2 a.m. on Monday. All right, you can still see there's a storm, all right, band of snow through Illinois, through western Indiana, and then it really comes together. I mean, really comes together. Like, we got a lot of heavier snow for southeastern Indiana, southwestern Ohio, and northern Kentucky. All right, the NAM does go, I wouldn't say they're a heavy snow bias, but I definitely think it's something to pay attention to. Some heavier snow. Like I've always said, sometimes the flakes are bigger, more moisture, closer to that rain-snow line. So if you guys are lucky enough to get close enough to the rain-snow line, but still see some heavy snow, all right, the snow could be a bit heavier because the flakes are bigger, temperatures are slightly warmer. But again, if you go too far east, then it turns into rain. So keep that in mind. All right, but definitely heavy snow closer to that rain and snow line. All right, and then obviously still some moderate snow on the backside. Ohio, Kentucky, and again, maybe even a few flurries for Alabama and for Georgia as well. All right, and then you can see the low still spinning about. All right, we still got a lot of moderate snow. So it's going to be a big chunk of snow. It's not going to be just like bands of snow on the backside. It's going to be a huge chunk of widespread snow that will be hanging around still, even when the low may seem like it's like long gone this way. All right, so here, we're going to keep watching this, and there you go. Around Wednesday, 2 o'clock. This goes out as far as Wednesday at 2 a.m. in the morning. So when you look at the snow totals, maybe add an inch or two just because, but the storm is pretty much over at this point, so we can get a good view of it. But still, northeastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, there is your snow. All right, so again, maybe add an inch or two to these totals just because the storm didn't technically finish off yet, but I wanted to showcase the NAM model in this video as well. Here's the snow totals. Starting farther south, again, northern Georgia, northeastern Alabama, you got a chance, but I would just count on seeing some isolated flurries down there. Georgia and Alabama, you're not guaranteed to see flurries, but look for some isolated flurries, not really amounting to anything at all. Still a few inches though for eastern. I'm surprised they went lighter on the snow for eastern West Virginia and Asheville, like in western mountains in North Carolina. They actually went a bit less, maybe like 4 to 6 inches. All right, but still, we get that 12 to 18 area. Same thing with the GFS. I think it was a GFS that said this, right? Am I right? Yes. So, except they have it expanding a little bit more, but same as the GFS here, 12 to 18 right in northeastern Ohio, even northern central Ohio will be the bullseye for this. And then 8 inches for Detroit still, through northern Kentucky, eastern Indiana, maybe 6 to 8 inches as well. So still a lot of snow coming out of this, but for a place like Erie, it may be a tough forecast for you because the NAM model calls for about 4 to 5 inches. I think, which one was it? The UKMET, I think it was calling for like a foot as well. All right, so was the Canadian model. So, but yet NAM model is calling for 4 inches. So it's a bit debatable of a forecast. All right, I'm still gonna be giving updates for this. And now the title says potential blizzard. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about this portion of the video is gonna talk about how this could become a blizzard. Obviously, criteria for blizzard: you need to have some kind of falling snow. Visibility needs to be a quarter mile or less. All right. The winds have to be greater than 35 miles per hour, and this all has to last for at least 3 hours. All right, so that's what you need for a blizzard. Now, if we look at the wind gusts with the European model, not look like much now, I know, but let's zoom in, and here, let's start moving out far into the future. You see 1,002 millibars of pressure with the European model. All right, and this is 3 a.m. Monday. Some wind gusts. Now, again, there's not going to be a blizzard this far south, but wind gusts are already getting 40 miles an hour. That's wind gusts. Sustained winds not look like much, but technically, wind gusts can be 35 miles an hour in order to classify as a blizzard. It doesn't need to be sustained winds, but there has to be frequent wind gusts of 35 miles per hour plus. Meaning, if there's like 1 or 2 wind gusts that last for like 2 seconds of 35 miles an hour, it doesn't count, right? It has to be quite a few wind gusts or sustained winds of 35 miles per hour plus. Actually, southern Georgia are calling for 57 mile an hour winds, so that's interesting. But as the low moves north, I definitely think that there's going to be a lot worse winds on the east side of the storm compared to the west side, just because the low is moving through the mid-Atlantic region. Like winds off the coast could be like 80 plus miles an hour, like Cat 1 hurricane status. All right, but still, you still got wind gusts of 38 miles an hour. Obviously, the lakes, of course, the winds will be stronger, closer to 50 if you live like right on Chicago or North Bend, Indiana. All right, but even as we head through Tuesday, I feel like Tuesday, once the low moves north, right? Low moves north, I feel like that's when more of the winds kick in. Tuesday, Wednesday will be your windy day. Monday, overnight Monday into Tuesday, and through the day Tuesday will be like your snow day. All right, and still we can see some winds gusting 35, 40 miles an hour. That's the European model. Let's go to the GFS model now. All right, starting with Monday, again, you can see the wind moving through. All right, and still winds gusting, 30, 35 miles an hour, maybe fading to 20. All right, on the back side. But let's go to, let's see, let's go out to Tuesday. All right, Tuesday, again, into Wednesday, as you can see how the orange starts to build back in again? All right, so you start seeing some 33, 34, 36 right there. So winds could still build in. As the storm may seem like it's leaving, winds could still build in. It's going to be close. But nonetheless, even if this is not a blizzard, still major winter storm conditions that we could be anticipating. And actually, I wonder if they actually put any alerts out. All right, no, so there's no alerts yet. All right, that's not expected, obviously. Again, because of still some uncertainty with the storm, so definitely stay tuned for more updates. Ring that notification bell, subscribe as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know the weather dude. He loves snow. He loves talking about this. Again, stay tuned for the 5th winter forecast and maybe final winter forecast soon. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.